Welcome back to another episode of My Memorable Games, where players of the past and the present talk about the memorable games they've played in and their careers at Southend. Today we're with Joe Robbins, who is a veteran of 158 games over 7 years, from 2013 to 2019. So, welcome, Joe.
Hello, Scott. All right, mate.
Good to see you. So, go back to the start. From 2013, what convinced you to join the club?
Good question. That about 18 months of Spearsy visiting my work, trying to get me to play. He used to come when I was working in the cricket shop in Westcliff. He used to just park up for about 4 hours in the afternoon. A few games of golf, and he persuaded me in the end to come.
You were at Hadley beforehand.
I was.
It's good to get you across. Okay, so we'll go on to the 2013 season. So your first memorable game is your 7th at the club. So 2 weeks before, you've scored your maiden 100. Do you remember where that was?
Hutton?
Yeah. And how many?
Was it one? I'm thinking maybe 135 in a loss.
It was. I think you're about 230 for one, chasing 280 odd.
Yeah, we were about 10 short, I think.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, so that was one we well and truly threw away. I remember that.
Okay, so we come on to the game against Lee. It's a grim day. So what are your first memories of that day?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure wicket wasn't covered. So I remember it being a real wet one at the park. Probably one of a few games that actually went ahead that day.
Yeah.
Always driest part of the county at South Church Park. Yeah, we must have won a toss because we bowled first. Yeah, it was one of them days where just stump to stump, wicket was a bit all over the shop. I think we rolled down for maybe 120, 130.
Yeah, something around that, yeah. You end up with
picked up 6 for, yeah. Trying to think.
6 for 66.
Dino was one of them. That's always a good one to get early. And then, yeah, you're thinking 130 or just a bit of a breeze with a batter. That I was opening that season as well. And at the non-strikers then, it was wicket. I'm pretty sure Sean Elliott might have taken the majority of them.
I think he took all 7. I think he
it was
7 down.
You know, if anyone in the local area was designed to bowl in that sort of wicket and that sort of day, it was probably him. I'm pretty sure I just thought, right, if I try and stick around, it's not going to go well. So I just kind of opened arms and tried to take it on.
So you got 78 that day?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And you were out quite close to the end. Did you think at that point, I've blown it here, or?
Yeah, I've done that quite a few times over the years. Got out with us needing a handful of runs left, and then it ended up getting a bit squeaky. Always confident of the other lads, but yeah, probably looking back, I probably should have seen that one through. But I think we were 7 down in the end, getting them.
Yeah, I think Sean got 7 for 71, something like
that. Fairly, well, not comfortable, but we got there in the end with a little bit of time to spare. I don't know who was in at the end. Dale, maybe.
I believe it was Dale and it might have been Sivo, someone like that. I looked at it, I haven't got hand.
7 down, and you still got quality batsmen in, and probably like a Bell's still to come. You know, Bell's is good for seeing out an end. So
yeah, I think that sort of day, like you say, it's almost you play one end against Sean Elliott and score the runs pretty much at the other end.
So I can't think who would have been bowling the other end. Possibly a couple of young lads. So it really was a case of two different games, really.
Yeah, Joe Sexton bowled 8 overs for 40 or something, but
yeah,
back to 2013.
Probably wasn't a day for spins, so it was probably a case of setting attacking fields and just trying to cash in where I could.
And Joe would have been young then as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think Joe was a couple of years younger than me, so I'd have only been early 20s at the time. So,
yeah,
he would have been a youngster.
So that was a good start to your season. One of the games you mentioned coming up not long after was Bellis away. Good game for you.
Bellis away, yeah. It was I think that's the first time I've ever played there. Actually, I've heard good things about it being a good wicket to bat on and stuff like that. And think they batted first, got 230, 40, something like that.
235 they scored. Was something
Joe,
you fancy chasing?
Joe Joyce got a good 100 from what I remember. And then, yeah, just from obviously bowling myself a lot of overs, just knowing that it weren't doing a great deal. I do remember early stages of my innings getting all sorts of barrels of abuse from their wicket keeper.
Any reason for that?
I think because of the move from Hadley to Southend,
Okay.
I was probably expecting a bit more from other clubs, to be fair, but this was the first guy that didn't know the fella, and he decided I was his target for the day.
So you and Newman batted well that day, putting on 188 for the first wicket.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, when I was opening at the start of playing with Southend, he's a great player to open the batting with. He's Mr. Cool, didn't say a great deal, doesn't get involved. Mr. Cool really. So once Norrie gets to 20, 30, he's going to be there for the long haul. So just a case of sticking around and then getting in and cashing in on a good wicket, quick outfield.
So Non made 91 that day. Did you think you two were going to sit home none down?
He probably did, yeah. I mean, it would have been nice to see off nearly 240 without losing a wicket. But what I've realised over the years, and Nomi will be the first one to agree, is that he gets a little bit fatigued when he gets probably over about 70, and he either runs himself out or tries to play a massive shot, which I'm sure he probably did that day.
Okay, so you and Ross Daines saw that.
Yeah, Dainesy saw it. I remember that. Yeah,
it was quite a comfortable win in the end. So
that's it.
That's all good. Okay, so another one of your games in that first season, a crucial game, 4 or 5 out. Dale's touched on it before. Is Billericay away?
Yeah, I remember that day well. We batted first. We won the top. I mean, Billericay's, everyone knows it's one of the best decks to bat on in the county. So I would imagine we probably won the toss. I remember nicking off the first slip, first over,
Yeah,
really early on. And we were really struggling, 50 for 6, 50 for 7 maybe. I remember Spearsy playing a really good innings for 50 odd or 60.
Yeah, Spearsy got runs. He got
one of the, even 7 years on, one of the best that I remember him playing. Cause he didn't really play his normal attacking way, kind of properly dug in. Got his vitals 50 odd. I mean, still 130 at Billericay. You think you're dead in the water, really, but it's something to bowl at.
I see. So you ended up with 154. That's what you end up with.
Got that many. Yeah.
So at halfway, that was a game that you had to win probably, but the worst thing would be you couldn't afford to lose it. And with 154, you never go draw that.
Win or loss, and it's a win or loss.
Yeah. And so a good place to bowl as well, Billericay.
That day was. I mean, you get a nice bit of bounce over there. If you're running in, you do get a nice bit of bounce over there. But movement-wise, you're very limited. I mean, it is a nice place to bat. I've had a few innings over there for various sides, a lot of county stuff back in the 80s, and it's pretty flat. So once, with the new ball, you've always got a chance. But I think I remember we didn't start that well. They might have got to 30 or 40 without losing a wicket.
Did, yeah.
I think if Aaron or Steve Hunt might have got the first one or first two.
Yeah, it was. So I was looking at the side. So it was just you bowled non-stop, I believe, from one end.
Yeah,
Aaron bowled first, and then Steve came on. You had no John Horn, no Ben Waffen. It was.
Yeah, I remember being a little bit light on bowling. But I say, they got off to a good start. So I think, you never give up. But you're probably a bit resigned to the fact. And then I think we picked up. Steve or Aaron nicked one off, and then an LBW as well. And you suddenly think, you add 2 wickets to the score, you're always in the game. And then I managed to pick up wickets at the other end quite regularly.
So they went from 52 for 2 to 56 for 5, something like that.
Yeah, I remember Paul Walker playing for them as well, coming in at 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I remember him hitting me for a lovely cover drive, and I was thinking, he might be in trouble here. And I think it's probably one of the worst balls I bowled all day. A real wide half volley, and he nicked it through to Dale, I think.
That sounds right.
And,
So they then went to 72 for 7, and it all ended rather quickly, I believe.
yeah, three wickets and 3 balls. It was a hat trick to finish. First one could have been a bowled. At the top of my head, I know the second 2 were LBWs. Pretty sure they were both LBWs. So anyone that knows my bowling is full and straight. I've done over all the years. Don't know why so many people have got out to it over the years, because it really is quite one-dimensional. But yeah, it worked that day, that's for sure.
So it's obviously a great win, get you back on the promotion trail. So we had the next Saturday, you play at home at Bellis,
Yeah,
and they score 340 after you put them in, or Dale put them in. Did it feel a bit like just getting out of jail, then walking back to ask to go back into your cell?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you cock a hoop one week, and then you turn up next week, and by 3:30, staring down the barrel of 350. I mean that innings, I still remember it. It felt like it was 6 hours in the field. It was still probably one of my even after all the Prem cricket, the long over stuff, it still feels like a very long time we were in the field that day. Again, Joe Joyce, I think got 150 this time, maybe. I mean, I went round the park 80, 90 maybe off my 10 overs.
Yeah, sounds right.
Really, yeah, went everywhere. It was one of them days where I think there were drop catches, missed run out chances, a bit bickering in the outfield. Warm day, you know how it gets when it's not going your way. You start getting a bit tetchy, don't you? You start finding people to blame and all that sort of stuff. And I remember walking off after the innings, walking in the dressing room, and by the time I got into the dressing room, grabbed a drink, come back out, Dale was halfway across South Church Park going home.
He did mention that he went home for 10 minutes to cool down.
He went home. I think he turned up a couple of overs into our innings. It's one of the only times I've seen him really
lose his rap,
really lose his edge. Yeah, but I can understand why. As captain of that, it was a bit of a shambles.
But you and Nom got off to a good start again.
Yeah, I mean, he's South Church Park. Runs on the boards. You're always in with a chance of getting them because he's flat. The boundaries are short. It's a true wicket. It was one of them where you just knew you had to be positive from the start. I think we might have got to like 60, 70 off the first 10. So a good platform. I think I threw one away, caught deep cover maybe, something like that, for 30s, 40s.
Yeah, I think 39, from memory.
39. And then I think Dainsey and Nomi put a big stand on.
Yeah.
Nomi ended up with 100, quite a big 100 as well, I think.
Yeah, I think 139, something like that.
Yeah,
So
Dainsey was on a good wicket like that. Dainsey was a great player. He's technically the best, one of the best players I played with. He's a bit like an Ian Bell at number 3. If it was a bit of a bowler-friendly wicket, sometimes he might struggle to sort of pierce the infield. But on a good wicket, he had all the shots. So once them two got going, you're thinking, we're still up against it. You got to go 7s and 8s and over.
Yeah.
But wickets in hand as well was vital.
And you just about creep over the line. I think Spearsy got 20.
Was it the last over or the last?
It was. Yeah, 4 balls left.
Yeah, from what I do remember though, the last sort of 5 or 6 overs being quite comfortable. I don't think we needed anything more than sort of 7s. I think that middle section was where we really did the bulk of the work.
And that's
good win, back-to-back wins like that when you're up against it, I think kind of made us realise that we were with a chance of getting promoted. Really,
that's it. And you achieved the promotion at the end of the season. So going on to the next season, you take over as captain from Dale. Was that always in the plan that you go become captain, or did it just?
It was always mentioned that Spearsy was, I don't know what his official role was at the club, maybe club captain or something like that. And Stuart Leslie, I remember speaking to Stuart and Spearsy and Dale, And Dale kind of said, you know, if I wanted it, then he'd stand aside. But he was happy to keep doing it. And I thought, yeah, why not? Let's give it a go.
Okay, so the first year you bring in your Phil Grays, your Wagstaffs, Sam Rose. So it's some good batting in there. Not bad season, mid-table. Was that the plan?
Yeah, a bit of stability. First season, obviously we brought in good players. You know, you always fancy pushing to the top end, but realistically, you come up a league to be comfortable mid-table. It allowed us to regroup, think of games where we didn't perform, and where to kind of put them wrongs right as such for the following season.
Look, one game stuck out at me. The last game of the season at Woodford Wells, you bowled 26 overs in that game.
I'm still knackered.
Did it convince you need to get more seam bowling in for the next season?
I think I was on 47 league wickets that season coming into that game. So I kind of, being mid-table, I thought, right, let's get 50 wickets. I thought that was a good achievement for. I thought it was 50 wickets for a season's good achievement, as well as batting in the top order. I remember getting 2 fairly early. And I thought, right, one more, and then my feet are up for the rest of the day. And over went by. It must have been about my 15th over. One of my best balls had bowled, little tickle through. Grazy was keeping wicket. And I think he'd done a Brian Lara. He was celebrating before the ball was in the palms. Down she went. And 11 overs later, there I was, still on 49 league wickets.
So did you not get the 50?
No, 26 overs and I got a twofer.
I looked at the scorecard and I wondered if it was because on that day the 2s got promoted and the 3s had a chance. So I thought
it wasn't the best side we had out. I think Woffs and Johners and a couple of others that had played, a bit of 1s and a bit of 2s. It was a little bit of a ploy there to bolster up the 2s. I remember Sheldon filling in the 1s.
Did, yeah.
We were a little bit bat heavy with, Ollie Wag, Matt Wag, Grazy, Dainsey. So, we had options, but I wanted 50 wickets and it didn't happen. So a bit of karma there, I think, being selfish.
Okay, so we're going to now come on to our your next memorable game, which is the 2020 not World Cup final. No, I felt like that.
Felt like the World Cup final.
League Cup final, so we'll come on to that. Okay, so now we're coming on to the 2020 final we mentioned. Been joined by Chris Gore, who was captain that day. Welcome, Chris.
Well, cheers for having me, Scott.
No problems. So on to that final. Probably wasn't the strongest side we could have put out that day, Chris. A couple of players short, maybe?
Yeah, I think the start time of White Harold Wood on a Sunday afternoon, I think it put a couple of people off. I think Phil, Gridley and a couple of others, but didn't fancy it. So you got the late call up on the Saturday night, I believe.
I did, but there's a couple of others say perhaps the 2 Kearneys might not have been first picks, but a solid side. It certainly wasn't a bad side we had. But
no, tried sort of picking the side based on who had been playing in the previous rounds.
No, good stuff. Okay, so early on, they decide to bat, and we start okay as an early run out. What are your first memories of that game then, Chris?
I'm trying to think back to who opened the bowling. I think we had a little strategy. I think Tommy used to open the bowling from one end, try and wheeze a couple of overs out quick, and then I think Tom Kearney and Pat had a bowl in there.
Yeah.
And I think Joe might have had the second over, but we saved him towards the back end.
That's it. Yeah, so they started reasonably well. We got that early run out, as was mentioned, by one of the Kearneys. But then they batted well, didn't they? A couple of big partnerships.
Yeah. And also, if I remember rightly, it was quite hot September. So the outfield was quite quick and about a short boundary to one side, which was quite hard to defend.
Yeah.
So we were trying to mix the bowling up so they didn't sort of have the spin going into the short boundary.
I think me and Joe were saying early on, they just seemed to go at 10 and over. Is that right, Joe? Just everyone seemed to be going for runs.
Yeah, they seemed to. Yeah, Chris said it was. I remember it being a short boundary towards the trees, towards the football pitches. And just felt like everything was going that side. Yes, as Chris says, it was just impossible to defend.
So they're 140 for 3 with 7 overs left. We are looking out of the game, I would say, at that point. because it's looking at a big score, isn't it? Another 10 overs, or sorry, 7 overs at 10s takes them to 210. So we dragged it back a little bit. Tell us a bit about how we got back into it, Chris.
I think, remember rightly, we swapped ends on one of the bowlers because we had Tommy and Bells bowling, both bowling spin, and I think Joe had 2 left. So I put Bells on the top end, so he had the longer boundary, and I think we packed out one side and we were trying to cut down on the 2s. But it seemed every over there was a boundary ball or something where they would just pick the right spot. But then I think Joe's last over didn't go for very many. I think looking back, I think Joe bowled the last 2 from the top end, so he had the short boundary that last over. We set a very offside field, and they were making them hit towards the short boundary.
That's right. I had to bowl the last 3 from one end, which wasn't in my plan at all. I was warming up just to try and move. I played the day before, and I must have caught your eye doing a stretch or something. You were like, "You can have a bowl." I was like, "Oh, this isn't in the plan."
140 for 3 off 12 overs, right? It was who else could throw the ball to?
Also looking back as well in my head, Sibbo bowled.
I think everyone bowled. I think pretty much everyone, maybe yourself, didn't bowl. I think everyone had a go. I think it was that just kind of day where let's try and do something to try and
burgle a wicket.
Yeah, that's it. I remember I bowled the last over, but went for 6 or 7. I said to Joe, anything under 20 to keep us under 200, and then we've got a model of respectability.
I think we had a bit of a defeatist attitude going on, didn't we? Because it was, say, the circumstance of the game, the team we had, and I think they had a pretty strong side out.
Yeah,
it was one of them where you just thought, right, let's just enjoy the day. I don't expect to win. They weren't setting any pressure on ourselves or anything like that, and sometimes they end up being the best days.
What was your thoughts then, Chris? 186 they got, so 187 half time. You're a gambling man. Where would your money have been?
My money would have been on them. But when you looked at our top 5 or 6, or it took for one of them to come off with a 50 or a 60, and you're back in the game.
Yeah. So,
and with that short boundary as well, that probably, looking back now, that was probably a par score.
Maybe, yeah. Until you actually play at Harrow, you don't realise just how short we were on the end wicket, I think.
Yeah.
To walk on there's only like a little flick to the leg side or that side. So we'll get off to a good start with Ollie and Sam. I think they put on about 60 or 70. And then the scorecard doesn't say who's out, but one of them goes for 40. We have a couple of partnerships like that. And then you get coming, Joe. Do you remember batting there?
I don't remember a great deal. It was one of them days where you just pretty much swinging from the hip almost, trying to push hard for the big side and then trying to cash in on the short side. I think I might have had a good partnership with Sibbo, maybe 50 or 60, kind of through the middle overs, maybe like 10 to 15 overs, something like that, against quite a bit of spin from what I remember. Actually,
I think from my memory, we sort of had 3 or 4 partnerships really of about 50, and you were out with about 25, 30 to go.
Yeah, I think I hold out towards the park. I'm sure I hold out towards like long on towards the park down the far end.
So we send out Tommy Kenton out to bat, and we're sort of in it. We're not. We have a good over. We had a good bad. Did you have any idea who was going to come in next, Chris? Or was it all a bit?
I remember me and Spearsy were both padded up. I remember it. Spearsy was going to go next, and then I was after Spearsy. And me and Spearsy were looking at each other because it was getting so tight and it sort of out of our hands, really, needing what we needed. Neither of us were just looking at each other thinking, neither of us fancy this, really.
No, I was saying to Joe, there was a lot of who goes next. And so I think you said to me, you go next, you can run. And I said, yeah, but I can't hit. And it was that sort of thing. Oh, he can hit, but he can't run.
Yeah.
He can run, but he can't hit. And it was all a bit...
Yeah. It was just, we had a floating order, didn't we? So I think all of us were padded up at one point.
That's right. It was all a bit, we'll have to just wing it, which was good fun. So we come down to the last over, 15 to win. Do you fancy us or...?
Well, the way we were hitting was to the long boundary where the park was.
Yeah.
straight was the longest boundary that way. And I think they brought a guy on that last over who hadn't actually bowled all day.
Right. That sounds about.
Looking back, and then was it the first ball went for 4?
It did, yeah. It went to the deep mid wicket, to the furthest part away from where we were all in the pavilion, or in the at the top of the hill. And a lot of credit must go to that guy, because it went for 4, and he called it for 4, because I think he dived or stopped to his foot, something like that, and he put his hand up and said, "No, that's gone." Where if he hadn't done that, there's no one down there to question him.
When you look back at it now, probably with 15 off the last over, he's probably thinking to himself, "I'll be honest here, because I don't back him to chase this."
No, that's right, yeah. So then I think it went down to, so we got 4 singles and a 2. So we need 6 off the last ball. It's 6 to win it.
I remember it was we needed 5 off the last ball, and we were all sitting there. 4 weren't good enough, and we're all sort of that's the end of this.
That's it, yeah. It was. So what were your memories, Joe, about last ball?
I remember it taking an age for him to bowl it. I must have changed the field about 1,000 times. What was going on? I mean, I know it was a final, but it was like a World Cup final at Lord's, the amount of changes that were going on. And I remember it was Howell Wood's got a big football club there, and then it was like late September, so there was a load of kids football had gone on. And there must have been a good couple of 100 people out on the patio there at Howell Wood sort of watching. And I think they'd realised what was going on. So they were watching. We were all sort of there, shirts over our heads, couldn't really watch what was going on. I think Gore was marching up and down. He couldn't bear what was going on. Sibbo on strike. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's probably him.
I don't think... Sibbo said to me that he just expected it to be full, so that was the shot he was going to play. And probably... You've got
to think at that level. I'm sure it was a little medium pacer that was bowling. Keeper was up.
Right in the slot, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're banking. It's got to be full. He's not going to bowl a slow ball bounce or anything like that, because you're not getting it at that level. So it's just a case of solid base. I was going to say don't try and overhit it, but he certainly did try and overhit it, and it was lucky for us that he come right out of screws.
That's it. So when he's hit it, do you think it's gone, Chris, or are you panicking that he might be called?
No, the man down there on the line, and the size of the boundary, I think no chance here, but it was one of them. It was in the air, and as you watch it, it just kept going and going.
Yeah.
I don't think it actually landed until it hit the park fence.
No,
I remember going up and thinking, that's it. I think we were halfway on the pitch, and then sort of halfway through, you're like, hang on a minute, that is an 80-metre boundary out there. And then I remember just the guy turning around, and you're thinking, nah, that's it. It's well over his head.
That's it. It was no doubt. So he hit it miles. I think probably the best person to have on strike that day was Sibbo, because he said he just knew what he was going to do, and nothing else fazed him.
Yeah, and he
calmest man there.
Yeah, he doesn't think, does he, Sibbo? I mean, a few of us might have been, can we get across the stumps and do this? Can we maybe go inside out over cover towards a short boundary? But
Sibbo could ramp it.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. But, I mean, it was just a case of, Sibbo's a good tennis player as well, and he's good sportsman, so it's just a case of, if it's up, it's gone.
It's gone. So we won that. So afterwards, how did you feel after winning it? Was it a bit of an anticlimax, would you say, on a Sunday?
Yeah, but obviously, as Joe said, there was quite a few people there. And I think when we actually turned up and they saw our side, they didn't give us a chance themselves, Harold Wood.
Yeah.
So if I remember right, they all sort of snuck off into the bar and started disappearing home when we was getting the trophy and stuff.
It'd have been a good one to win on a Saturday where it wasn't 30 miles away.
Yeah.
It was one of those that you had to go. You had to get home. People had to drive and had work the next day. So it was a couple of beers afterwards. And then people sort of disappeared.
I remember the final the following year. We actually hosted it. But then they, like Thursday night it was. So again, you couldn't have a drink or anything.
Yeah.
No, that's it. Yeah, it was just a shame, really. Like I say, even if we played it close at home, it was a case of, well, everyone's got to get back from halfway to London.
Yeah, exactly.
We managed to win that again the following year, I believe.
Yeah, back to back we were. Didn't lose a game in the whole competition. We beat some good sides.
Waltham in the final. They had a couple of Essex 2s players playing, didn't they? They were made up of all players that played in the Snell Prem,
Yeah, they had the leg spinner who used to play for Hornchurch as well, didn't they? Taki Abbas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember it being really. I remember us
Got
having to go
dark
into
at the
bat,
end.
and it was like pitch black. I remember being in at the end,
You and Sibbo again
thinking,
at the end.
yeah, thinking I'm stuck in seeing the ball here, so I need to get this done because anyone coming in, he's going to struggle to even see the ball.
So I remember Rowie couldn't hit the ball off the square, could he? About 3 overs of Taki Abbas.
Yeah.
Wow. Good times and good memories there. Some fire. So thank you, Chris. Thank you for your time.
No worries, not a problem.
Thank you very much. Cheers, mate. So we come on to 2015, Joe. You've done well in the first season in Division 1, mid-table. Did you feel this was a time to push on for the Premier, or was it just another case of see what happens, really?
Yeah, it was. It was much more of a let's push on now. Let's we cemented our place. Always going to be difficult though, because I remember it was when Hornchurch had just been quite heavily invested into, and they bought in when they first started to get some big names. I think Paul Walker went there. Roy Smith was the captain.
Yeah.
So we knew that they were going to be, big red hot favourites. And I think Shenfield had just come down from the Prem as well, and kept most of their players. So it was a case of thinking maybe it was 2 out of 3 or 4 sides pushing for. And I felt we we had more than enough quality to really push on. But yeah, it was going to be tough with them 2 sides.
I see you brought in Dan Ingham that year to help with the bowling.
Yeah, from New Zealand, really good lad. Looking back now, we probably underused him a little bit, especially with a bat. Classic overseas, you get a bowler in, and then you're thinking, opening bowler, bat him at 7, 8, 9. And then he did bits and pieces, and then we played Shenfield away, and he got a brilliant 100, batting at 8 maybe, or something like that. And but it took us good 7 or 8 games probably for me to realise how good a bat he was. So really, he could have been a top 6, top 5.
Talking about Shenfield, you play them at home, and you lose, but in strange circumstances because of the duck.
That was the rain affected game, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I believe
this one the fallout for this one went on for quite a while. Yeah, now I do remember it. Yeah, I forgot about this game. It was a rain reduced, and it wasn't Duckworth Lewis, but the equivalent of what was used back then, gave them a total of something like 40 less than what it actually should have been. And something like that. And they only just got over the line, or we only just came up short, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we batted second. Yeah. I think when we looked at it later, it was a case of, hang on a minute, we got.
Yeah, so they must have given us. Sorry, they must have given us 42 many to get.
Yeah.
And we only end up coming maybe about 15 short. So looking back on it, you're thinking, that was one we probably could have won, and one that ultimately cost us the points of what would have got us over the line.
Yeah, that's right. I looked at that card, and Aaron Butcher was scoring for some reason that day. I think he was injured.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'd broken his arm or something like that.
Yeah, so that rings a bell. But I wonder did you at the time think, hang on, that's a bit wrong, that score? Was it just a case of...
It was one of the first years, I think it might have even been the first year that those rules had come in.
Yeah.
And it was, I can't remember if it was run rate or... It was just kind of off a generic list, and I didn't really have a clue. Looking back now, I should have looked into it more, left that to the umpires, and it turns out they got it horribly wrong.
Yeah, so perhaps if Pete Kenton was there, it might have been someone said, hang on a minute, this isn't right. But as you say...
Quite possibly, yeah.
First
you'd like to think two Snell umpires would have got it right, but yeah, less said than that, the better, right?
No, that's it. We're not getting into more trouble. There's another game that I noticed in 2015 that was a close one. Hadley, I believe it's Hadley at home. You have them 8 down, and Nigel Holmes and Jack Wagstaff bat for the last 10 or 12 overs.
I don't remember much of that one, mate. Because I remember playing them away that season, and I was winning by 1 wicket. I remember that. I don't remember the home game, mate, to be honest with you.
Okay. That's fair. I just wondered if it was one that got away. So it looked like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was. No, really struggling to remember. I remember playing them at their place and winning by 1 wicket. Darrell was in at the end, and saw us over the line. But yeah, I don't remember the home game.
So you end up 4 points off going up that year.
Yeah.
You lose twice to Shenfield.
Yeah.
So and they go up. So probably a fair reflection of the season that they might be just a little bit better than you.
I think it was, yeah. And the thing is as well, the last game of the season we had Hornchurch who had wrapped the league up. So you're going into that game thinking, well, we've got to win.
Yeah.
You've got to win batting first, really, to really put the pressure on. But again, I can't remember if I won the toss or not, but we bowled first. So 20, whatever the maximum points were, was out of the question. We had a really good win that day, actually. To be fair to Hornchurch, they stuck with their best team, best batting lineup, all that sort of stuff, even though they won the league. I think we kept them to 170 odd and we knocked them off. And it was a waiting game from Shenfield, who were playing Woodford Wells, I think, at the time. And it was kind of a case of sitting by the phones watching it, and it filtered through that they'd won. I think they'd won. I think they won with maximum points.
Yeah, they were bowling second, and I think they won quite late on.
Yeah, it was. I remember. Yeah, we missed it because I remember after our win, waiting by the phones. But it must have been well into sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock. But yeah, it wasn't to be that year, unfortunately. But luckily, next year we got over the line.
So going back to 2015, when you say it was close, did you think it could have been the year that's got that? Could have been the big chance, or were you confident that next year?
Not necessarily, no, because we knew the two teams that did go up, Shenfield and Hornchurch, were strong for a Division 1, and probably stronger than a lot of teams we've seen in Division 1 over the years. But to come third and to be so close, it was a case of making sure the following winter we all stuck together, trained hard, kept the players, and went again for 2016.
So going into 2016, you bring in Ash McCafferty from Victoria. Was he from?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sort of country Melbourne.
Yeah, good cricketer. Quick, was he?
Yeah, he was kind of recommended through a mate of mine, James Pettit. A few people know him from Lee. He was living out there. I was speaking to him one day, and he said about Ash that wanted to come over. Sort of looked at his cricket CV and thought it was kind of what we were looking for. Took a bit of a chance on him, like every overseas player is always a gamble. He lived with me at home, which is good. And but he was seriously good bowler. Yeah, a real Malinga type action with so round arm. He sort of ambled in and then got to the crease and just unleashed this round arm missile, and it was different for what a lot of people have faced in that league.
So, and the other person who came in that year, Alex Carcosi.
Yep.
Did he give you another sort of...
Cox was someone I've known for a couple of years. I tried to always a bit tongue in cheek about coming to join. I remember meeting him for a pint in Basildon one weekend, and he said he was keen to come. So I tried to try and sell him the dream, and he come over, and a really good all rounder, and a real good mentality on a cricket pitch. Played hard, almost like a younger Woffs, if you know what I mean. He bowled quicker than medium pace seamers. Batted middle order, all the shots, ramps, reverse sweeps, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, massive player for us that season.
So him and Ash, I think that almost like the final piece of the jigsaw to give you the firepower.
We'd been lacking almost another real strike seam bowler for a while. Danningham had done it the year before. Me and him were quite, bowled a lot of the seam overs. Woffs, he didn't play every week, so he'd miss out on his overs. Bells and Gridders, two really good spinners for us, but we did lack that sort of third strike bowler. And with Carts coming in, that gave us three good seam bowling options.
That's it, because in 2015, Gridley and Bells took 65 wickets between them, which good numbers. But sometimes you need someone to break open the top.
Yeah, and a lot of the time, especially the 50 over games, I'd open the bowling with Dan, and after 10 overs, you're looking around thinking, well, we need to change it up. We don't want to use all our overs. And you're looking around thinking, you got Steve Hunt, Matt Wagg to bowl, little seamers, but we didn't really have anyone with good pace to come on and back up good starts or break a partnership. So, it was good to have another strike bowler.
That's it, in Ash in that 2016 season, 44 wickets at 14.
Yeah, he did. And the thing is, as well, he was only under 19, so he had to bowl in 7 over spells. There's a few times where I wanted to bring him on to either go for a tail or break a partnership up, but I had to wait 14 overs from when he started bowling or finished bowling.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so I remember playing Hadley at home once. We skittled them for maybe 100, 110, and we had a mate down. And I thought, right, get Ash on here, he'll mop up the tail here. I couldn't get him on.
I wouldn't allow it.
A few overs time, but that was the beauty of Ash that year. As soon as the side was 6 down, the way he bowled Yorkers or bouncers, he mopped up a lot of tails in next to no time, and unfortunately nicked a lot of my cheap end of innings wickets.
So just on that season, the first game, do you remember the first game of the season against Harold Wood? Home draw. You scored 107.
100, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're chasing quite a high score, 260, 270.
Yeah, I think you're only 20 or 30 out, but Gridley has to survive the last four balls.
They'd just come down from the Prem.
Right.
I think they'd just come down from the Prem, so they were like a promotion favourite as such, and getting 270 on the ball was a bit of an eye opener for us, thinking, oh, actually, we're not going to get this all our own way. And then so we came up a few short, did we, in the draw?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Gridley had to survive the last 4 balls. You survived 9 down.
Was I in or was I out?
You were in with him. Yeah.
I was still in. Yeah, probably made the mistake of not farming the strike or trying to protect my average, one of the two.
Well, the reason I brought that game up was because you get to the last game of the season and it's a bit of an anticlimax, the last game.
Yeah, Billericay, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the situation of what we needed to do. We must have been in the top 2 because we were nearly all season. Probably a case of a win of any sorts would have got us home, but yeah, it really rained a lot that day. I'm not sure what the situation in the game was. Were we bowling or were we batting?
You batted, and then looking at the card, you bowled 28 overs back.
Yeah, I don't think we put huge score on the board though, did we?
No, 220, 225.
Yeah, but Billericay, that's below par, yeah.
That's it.
And they were going okay, maybe at the time.
Yeah, I think it was just. It looked like it looked like it was a dead game, but it was almost like you had to bowl a certain amount of overs to get the game completed.
When you're at Billericay, if you look over the pitches, there's quite a big sort of field you can look at, and you could see the rain coming in. There's a case of, right, he's coming. Got to get, because with our bonus points, we probably would have got maybe 10.
You got 10 that day.
Rather than 6 for just the rain game. So, yeah, I think we rattled off some overs just to get the game on. And then, I remember heavens opened and that was it. That sealed the promotion.
That's it. The irony of the first game of the season, though, was Harold Wood were the team who came third that year.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, probably did we get Colchester? Was it we got promoted with?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So if you hadn't survived the first game against Harold Wood, then they've got promoted. So
it's funny, isn't it? You think, first game of the season, 1 or 2 points doesn't make a difference. When you look back over seasons, we found that out in 2 seasons in a row that a really handful of points determine promotion or not. Yeah,
that would have been a 13. I think Harold Wood would have got 12 that first game, but to win it, 25.
Yeah.
End of
story. Yeah.
So we get on to 2017. What was your target going into the Premier? Anything in mind?
Staying up was the sole aim. Staying up was the aim, but it was one of them where we knew it was going to be such a struggle. It was almost a case of, if we do go down, let's just give a good account of ourselves. We knew we had individual players that could compete at that league. Apart from Philippe, I don't think anybody had played in that league before. So it was always going to be a struggle. But yeah, staying up would have been the ultimate aim, really.
So one of the early games you mentioned is Chelmsford at home, and they turn up with
Yeah,
Sam Cook, Aaron Beard, Matt Dixon, three guys from
yeah.
Essex.
One of the first games. I think the first couple of games we just lost at Wanstead, close to getting a draw. We lost, but we're never in it. And then somebody else, maybe Chingford or someone, again, quite heavy defeat. I think looking around the dressing room, everyone's thinking, oh, maybe we're well out of our depth here. Played Chelmsford. Yeah, three of Essex's main bowlers turn up. Ben Waring, one of the main, probably the best spinner in the Premier League around as well. You're thinking, oh, here we go. And 135, 36, something all
Yeah,
out.
I was 135. So you were 122 for 4 at one stage.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah. I got 48 or 49. I remember Aaron Beard just trying to hit me in the head. Every single ball hit me in the head. And I kept swinging, kept top edging it into the sight screen. He was getting more and more angry. And I think, it was the quality and the pace of the bowling really ran through our middle and lower order. Nothing like some of them boys had faced before, I don't think.
So it's at tea, it was just like, for you, was it just a case of let's get a couple, take a couple with us?
Bit deflating, yeah, but it was, again, like the last season, it was, can we get 3 wickets? It's another point. Can we get 6 wickets? It's another point. Let's not let these get them none down in 10 overs and then, be a laughing stock. Let's give it a go. Started off with a couple of early ones. I think I got one and Rendell might have got one. And then I remember Rendell just going on a really mad little spell in the middle. I think he got 4 or 5 caught behinds. I think Tom would have ended up with quite a few catches that day.
That's right. So after you say 2 early ones, they were 6 for 2. And then it just always little partnerships. They put on 28, then a 23, a 15, and a 36.
Yeah, when you're chasing 130, you don't need too much, do you?
No, that's it. So at one stage, they're 102 for 6. Do you then think, well, hang on, could have a little chance here? Or do you still think with Essex players?
You still think, you still think you're strong. I remember, I think it was Dixon, the Essex bowler, bats 11 for Essex, proper number 11, but he came in, he hit somebody, I don't think might have even been me, smashed me for massive 6 over mid-on. You're thinking, these ain't number 11s. For our level, these are top order batsmen. And then I remember dropping down to fine leg, I think, for an over, maybe just to get some water on board. And I think Rendell took 2, maybe even 2, definitely took 2 in 1 over, I think. And suddenly they were 8 down, and we're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, we're a chance here.
Well, Harry Ridgewell, you were overseas that year, got the breakthrough, and it was 124 for 7. And then you get Dixon out caught behind. So that's a 2 in batters, 126 for 8. So they need another 10 with 2 new batters. At that point, you must be thinking,
when they were 9 down, I remember, I'm sure it was me or Rendell, one of us had a really, really, really close LBW. And it was probably umpire's call hitting, I'd imagine. But, Chelmsford v Southend, who's it easier to give it not out or out to? And I think that you might get one chance. 9 down, you get half chance in the field, half chance for a run out or a tight LBW. And that was the one that didn't go away, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because I was playing on the 13 pitch, and in the back of my mind, I had the fact that I was going to say to you, did you have a big appeal to win the game?
Yeah, I'm sure it was my bowling. I'm sure it was. It was one of them where
the top end.
It must have been Rendell then, because I was bowling at the bottom end. I remember that. So it might have been Rendell then. But I remember it being not stone dead, but one you think that's pretty, one where everyone goes up in unison. You think, no, we've got him here, but no, not out. And then, the field was up. We were going through it. We didn't want to leave anything out there, and I think he squirted one through backward point to get them boys over the line.
They give you a bit of confidence, though, that you can.
I think it was a game turner for us, a season turner for us. It made us realise we can do this. Even we didn't perform well. We performed awfully with the bat, really, but we, a good half game, and we were so close to winning, pulling that one out of the bag.
So we come on. So as the season goes on, you win some games, especially in the 50 overs.
Yep.
One near the end of the season, Shenfield away. Does that ring any bells?
Did we lose that one? Narrowly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again,
You
9
got
down.
Yeah. So they were chasing 284, and you had
Yeah,
them 250 for 9.
Yeah. Carks was probably a bit poor captaincy for me, really. Carks had bowled a really good spell, got a couple of 2 or 3 wickets. It's one of them where kept him going probably for an over or two too long, looking back on it. I think, again, Rendell was probably bowling the other ends. Could have brought myself back on. But Carks was bowling so well, I think he just got a little bit tired. But yeah, that was... I remember coming off and pretty sure I lobbed something across the dressing room. I was gutted about that one.
So
First time that season I've lost my cool, I think.
So a lad hit 3 4s, 3 6s to win that.
Yeah, young lad did it. Yeah, I remember.
Tom Ballington.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, definitely one. Yeah, gutting that was that day.
So you get 12 points that day, but probably should get 25.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Shenfield were probably one of the sides around us at the time as well. Maybe not directly below us, but just above us. And it was so tight. Then the extra 10, 12 points would have been massive. For
Yeah, that's it. So you got 12, should have been 25. So we come on to the last game of the season, which is Brentwood at home. Not the team you want to be playing, having to survive to win. Or you've got likes of Aaron West, John Walford, Max Osborne, Ian Bellchamber.
I think the only thing in our favour that day is I don't think they had anything to play for, as in winning the league or anything like that.
No, they came third. They came third that year. So, in a way, probably quite a poor standard for one of the best clubs in the country over the last few years. I don't.
Yeah, they were. I know they didn't win the league. I don't think they won the league the following year we were in the Premier League. But for me, they were always the number one team. Just the whole setup, the whole makeup of. You turn up at Brentwood and, there'd be cones out, they'd be warming up an hour and 20 minutes before the game and just looked a real professional side. And then, they had players that always scored runs against us.
So you get a couple of early wickets in that game. You think that settles the nerves?
Yeah, from what I remember, I don't think it was a great day weather-wise. The wicket might have been a little bit of something in it. I think I remember Rendell getting someone out with a massive full toss that the guy didn't see because Rendell bowls really tall. The guy was moaning that he came over the sight screen, getting an LBW, and then the very next ball, Aaron West came in, and it happened again. Exactly the same. Done a Chris Reed, ducked a full bunner, hit him on the pads, and it didn't get given. And I'm pretty sure he might have gone on to get a few.
Yeah, he got 78, I think. Him and John Walford put on a big stand, and then from there, everyone else chips in. And they got 267 for 9 off 59 overs. So
it was. It's a good score, but not an unbeatable score. It's at South Church Park.
So you've now got basically 61 overs to either score it or survive. Did you have any preconceived ideas of let's go for the win or?
No. Yeah, well, we went for the win. It wasn't a case of lads, we're going for a win at all costs, but it was just go out and play. If we go out and play naturally with Ollie and Newman, I think Newman was playing, definitely Ollie, Sam, Grazy. It was a case of, if they bat 60 overs, we'll get 270. Again, that's another day that I really, really messed up at the end. So I remember I was going really well. I think Ollie was on his way to a ton.
He got 83. He lost 4 early
runs in the middle.
Yeah, he lost 4 early, and him and Matt. I think Matt got 68 as well.
I remember Matt getting out, and Drewsy was in. I think Drewsy was going quite well.
Yeah,
and he's playing his natural, playing his shots. Ollie was doing the same, and I think we got wins that the team directly above us. I can't think who it was. Maybe Colchester had lost. Meaning that if we drew, we'd stay up.
Yeah, right, okay.
And I think I made a big mistake of mentioning that to Drewsy and Ollie at drinks. And I think that made them, I must have said along the lines of, right, let's rein it in a little bit. And that was the worst thing that could have happened because I think Ollie nicked off to spinner. Drewsy might have padded out to an LBW, and suddenly we were 7-8 down, where we were coasting really.
That's it. Carcosi was out second ball, and so it comes down to the last couple of overs with Bells and Waffen survive. Is that
Yeah,
how many?
it was more than that, because I remember because they had two really good left arm spinners and they were just bolting through their overs.
Right.
And it got to a case where we thought one more over and we've done it. And at the end of that over, you're looking at, I've still got 9 minutes left or something in the hour.
Oh, so it's time.
So they ended up bowling maybe 4 or 5 extra overs.
Right.
After every end of over, you're thinking, come on, what's the time? What's the time?
So those two I think Ben batted the last over out.
Yeah, Woffs. I don't think he played for a few weeks, and I got him into play, and proved why really.
Loves a big show, Ben. So that's
exactly. Yeah.
So you've stayed up. Was it always your plan to call it a day, captaining then?
Yeah, I think it was. I've done it for 4 or 5 years.
4 years, yeah.
4 years, yeah. I think it was just kind of, we got us up into the Prem. We stayed in the Prem. Maybe needed some fresh ideas. And Tom had joined the club. Had a couple of years at the club, and thought it was a very, very replacement, really.
Oh, that's fair enough. So we'll come on to 2018. Didn't start the best way, because minus 25 points, which
it did put us so far back.
In any other league other than the Premier, you think you can get those 25 back, but
it's 1 or 2 wins, isn't it? But in that league, when you're only getting 2 or 3 wins a season.
That's it. I looked at your first 5 games. And your first 5 are Brentwood, Chingford, Hornchurch, had Panesar playing, Monty Panesar, Ilford and Wanstead. To get 25 points in those 5 games is almost...
Yeah, it was...
It's almost an achievement itself.
That part, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, 25 points, it just demoralises you from the start. Everyone was on that sort of negative mindset from the outset. So
was there that feeling in the team that as much as you think you can do it, you almost know it's not possible?
Yeah, almost. Yeah, and I think I remember we didn't start great. We had a few players unavailable. I don't think I bowled for the first 7 or 8 games. I had a shoulder problem. Right. So it was a case of, with the deduction of points, and then kind of everything that could have gone wrong did almost. And we were just never in it, unfortunately.
No, that's it. One highlight though, Shenfield away.
Yeah, jeez, yeah, what a day that was.
So you top one. Sorry, I was going to say you decided to field, but Tom was captain then, and they declare on 323 for 6. I guess you're all thinking, let's just get home.
That was one of my worst 4 hours on a cricket pitch. Anything that went wrong that day could have. I remember bowling a ball that was about a foot down leg. Umpire gave it, caught down the leg side. Philippe, captain keeper, took the catch. Called the guy back in and said, look, I think if we were in a different position in the league, that would have never happened. But because we were so far adrift, Tom felt it was right to do that, which was, he was captain, he was cool. Pretty sure I lost my head at that stage. Completely lost it. I think refused to bowl. I've been trying hard to get a wicket for weeks, and I finally got one, and it got rescinded. I'm pretty sure Tom then almost jacked in the captaincy. I think Ollie took over for a few overs while Tom cooled down. The ball was going everywhere. I think Alex Hatton got hit for he bowling really well, but Potter Carey got 100 off about 40 balls. And it was just, you walking off with thinking, let's get out of here.
Let's just go. But when you actually chase it down.
Yeah, amazingly. I think because everyone had that sort of carefree attitude that day, I think Ollie nicked off early, I think, for not many. I think Tom went in at 3 and still had that bit between his teeth in the first innings.
No, it wasn't. Ollie got runs.
Somebody got out early.
Yeah, I haven't got the card here, but Ollie, Charlie Lockhart, Tom and Cole
I remember
Lees.
Tom played the most sort of carefree innings I've seen him play. I've played with Tom for probably a good 10, 12 years, and a very technically correct player. Works hard at his game, but I think the day he'd had, he just thought, I'm going to tee off here. And he got, his quick 70, and then Ollie got 70. Charlie batted really well for 50, and then Cole was batting really well. And then I went in and completely sold him up the river, run out with a proper yes, no, and went to his, he could have run either of us out, but I went to his end. And then we might have needed 30 odd, 40 more. I think the very next ball I cleared long off by about half a yard. And managed to get over the line somehow.
Was it good though that you, even though you're pretty much down by that point, just to almost show to people, look, we can play at this level?
Yeah, it was.
Improved yourself.
I think it actually pretty much took Shenfield down as well.
Right.
We didn't do that deliberate to send them down, but it was like a case that we were still playing a part in the league, whether it be ourselves or other teams or whatever. So it was good to little sort of parting gift as such, just to say, look, we've given it our best for the last 2 years, and just came up short. So
after 2 years of Premier Cricket, have you any interest in going back? Any ambition to, or it's a long day?
Yeah, it is a long day, and
obviously now with a family,
things in life have changed for me now. Yeah, married, obviously, little girl and stuff like that. The level of cricket does still interest me. Yeah, I know I've still got enough to give at that level for someone, but in life, I just don't think that committing to a full 14, 15 hour day is really for me now.
That's fair enough. Okay, so final question. If you could turn the clock back and change one moment of your time at Southend, what would it be? Or would it nothing?
No regrets at all, really. I mean, came in from the outset with a plan to try and get to the Premier League within 5 years, I think it was. Did it in 4. Captain of the team that got us to the Premier League. There's always things you'd probably want to have another go at, just to try something else. But no, we got the players in, we gave it everything. The last couple of seasons, players left for various reasons, moving away. So it didn't get sour. It was always, even the last Division 1, where we got relegated from Division 1, we were really struggling for players, wins. We still enjoyed it. Simo was a great captain, great bloke. We were drafting players in from everywhere that season, but we still gave it our all, and good to see some of the young lads play more. I suppose one thing for me when I look back is I should have given Sibbo more games in the first team. I think about it all the time. Actually, he should have been. I should have given him a lot more time in the first team. He was always the first one to drop out and the first one to come in, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Probably should have stuck with him, because he's best fielder in the club by far. Brilliant fielder. Played some great innings with the bat, and at the time when you're in the Prem, you just, little things niggle away at you, thinking this player needs to play. This player, he's on the periphery. But really, I should have stuck with him for longer. And
sometimes Sibbo's an easy man to drop because he's a batting tell, and he doesn't mind.
Yeah. And the trouble where people like Karks and Woffs, their availability wasn't always strong. They might be miss a week, back a week, and at the time when they're available, you think, got to get them in, match winners or whatever. But looking back in hindsight, should have persevered and put in Sibbo, cement him in the top order, and giving him a real good run of games. But I don't think there's many regrets, mate. We gave it a good go. We got us into the Prem. It's just, that's it really. Just the way it finished back down in Division 2 was a bit disappointing, but I think the hands were tied with players leaving and stuff like that.
That's right. Well, in your 158 games, Joe, 474,874 runs at 43.5 and 277 wickets at 21. So
That's
Some
better
pretty
than I thought it was.
decent 10 hundreds, 10 fifers. Nice little bit of symmetry there for you.
Genuine all-rounder.
That's it. So, no, thank you very much for all you did in your time at the club and your time on here today, mate. Thank you very much, Joe.
Pleasure, mate. Good to speak to you.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, mate. Take care.